So how these AWS services are stacked, let me talk about it. So at the very bottom of all the service offering, we have something called global infrastructure. So all these data center and the physical resources are grouped together. We call it global infrastructure. I'll go in detail about it. What is the region, availability zone, and edge location? We'll discuss them. Now, once we have laid out the physical foundation, what would be the next thing to do? Next thing would be to add foundation services on top of it, like basic building block, like compute, networking, and storage. Any application you build, any resource you create, probably they would all be needing compute, networking, and storage. So we would be adding these foundation services for our application, right? And once this foundation is ready, on top of it, I can then further add platform services. Like, I am looking for a database. Hey, I want to do analytics, I want to run an application, I want to deploy a new application. So that all would be happening through your platform services. So this is how we would be able to get benefited. So we will first focus on global infrastructure, then we'll talk about foundation services, and we will then talk about platform services. Let's get started with talking about what global infrastructure is and how we provide resources all over the world and how you can get started using it. So we are focusing now on global infrastructure. Okay. Now, what we see here is a picture of global infrastructure of AWS. And if you see at the bottom, I'm sharing a link, and you can also open that link into a browser. I'll put it into chat if you want to see it. So this is where you should be able to get all the all the global infrastructure detail, right? So hopefully everyone is able to see the link which I just shared. What this global infrastructure is made up of, it is made up of multiple component inside. I'll talk about them one by one. So this is the most secure, extensive, and reliable global cloud infrastructure for all your application, and all over the world we have services available. You can get started wherever you want to. So this is what our global infrastructure is made up of: 26 regions, 84 availability zone, 17 local zone, then we have 310 point of presence, and all over the world we have our resources available. These blue dots what you see are regions where services are available, and this orange dots where services would be coming up soon. That's all we can see here. This is what we are going to see here, right? So let's see what is going to happen here, right? We will talk more on that, how this graviton and how all these services are running. So what is the basic building block for this global infrastructure? So basic building block for the global infrastructure is a data center. AWS is running data center all over the world, but they are not publicly visible. What I mean by not publicly visible, you will never find a building which says, hey, this is AWS data center number 15. No, we do not make a public appearance for our data center. We keep them hidden in plain sight. There would be no marking, there would be no notification that this is the building where a data center is running. And what we do in this data center, we have around one data center is made up of around 50 to 80,000 servers and required component. Obviously, my servers would require storage, my servers would require networking, my servers would require something else. So these all things are hosted within my data center. That's what we are seeing here. So this data center would be made up of around 50 to 80,000 server and any required component on it. Now, along with this, what is going to happen? Along with this, we would be not relying on one data center only. Because if it's one building, and if let's say there is a flood, let's say if there is some issue, let's say there is a problem in connectivity, so we would lose connection and we would lose our application. So what we do, we combine one or more data center and then we make it a availability zone. So idea of a availability zone is that multiple data center put together is what we call a availability zone. So one data center giving me around 50k to 80k server. We need more capacity, we will add one other data center which will have again 50k to 80k server, and we can keep on adding this data center. As a customer, you do not see these data centers. What you see as a customer, you see availability zone, or in short form we call it AZ. So all over the world we have AZs, and these AZs would help you to keep your services running. Sometimes even you do not want to go inside AZ or maybe see this AZ into console, you may get started directly by selecting a region. So that is possible. So we may have a AZ which is made up of multiple data center, but what if the one AZ also fails? Virtual server or physical, Sensua, it is physical servers and it's infrastructure. So physical is what we are hosting there, and obviously they can run more virtual machines on top of it. So 50K to 80K is a physical server we are focusing there. Right now, what else? Once we have this servers ready, the next thing we do, that on these availability zones we have this architecture. If you see within one region, so let's say I say London is a region for AWS. So what would happen in London? There would be a availability zone A, there would be availability zone B, there would be availability zone C, and these availability zone would have their own data center within them. What you see is, you see maybe London as what we call a region, and then you may see availability zones depending on the services, but you never happen to see the data center. Even being an employee, I haven't visited data center anytime. I don't think I would ever visit it, because it is not a public place where everyone can go and watch what is happening. It is only for people who actually work or who need access, but it is not for everyone to go and check in there. So that's what would be a region made up of. So region is made up of multiple availability zones, and these availability zones would be combined together into an entity. That's what we call a region, right? And if you see this blue and green lines here, what you can see that these are the network. We always have redundant network. And when these availability zones are created, it is ensured that they are miles apart. If there is a flood, if there is a power outage, if there is a tornado, or if there is a earthquake, it won't be affected. So we keep them as separate as possible, but within one geography. So when I say I have a region into Ireland, that would mean all these availabilities on a data center are within the geographical limit of Ireland. They are not beyond it. When I say that we have a availability zone into Mumbai, then the data center and all the resources are somewhere near to Mumbai, but where exactly, we do not publish that information publicly, because customers are not interested in that. Customers are interested in getting their services running, and we create a redundant architecture ensuring that our services keep on functioning. So our availability zones are made up of multiple data centers, and then they are miles apart. There is a distance between these locations, and through this, we are able to keep our services running, and they all have redundant network connectivity, as we see here, ensuring that we can always provide connectivity. Right. And we publish this information on a health dashboard. I'll talk more about it when we reach to that point. So that's what a region is. So the take away from this discussion is that what a AZ is, availability zone, AZ is make up of what we call data center. So AZ equal to multiple data centers. I can't type and speak at the same time, so forgive my typing mistake. And then what is a region? Region is group of AZs. What you will find that mostly we have three or more AZs. Why three or more? Again, the idea is redundancy. Even if one of them fails, you can still keep on functioning from other available services. So we ensure that we give you highest uptime as much as possible by creating redundancy at the very plain location, right? So hopefully everyone is clear. Let's keep moving forward. So this is what a region is. Now, what you see here in the picture, this is little old one. And here we are representing where the regions are. So if you see these orange dots, I'm saying it again, this is old. Some of them are already live, like Cape Town has already been live. Here it is showing that coming up, but these are representing the regions all over the world. And if you see all over the world, the region exists, and the number here, so if this says Oregon says 4, that means there are 4 availability zones there. When say Bahrain has 3, means there are 3 availability zone. Mumbai, 3 availability zone. So that's what our automated way of providing infrastructure to you. Now, we don't stop there. So these are the hub where a lot of traffic would be coming in. But we also want to deliver better performance to customers. And for that, we have another option, which is called edge locations, right? Let me give a very basic example. Now, probably in your cities, you would have, I live in London, and we have a market, supermarket, let's say called Tesco. Like in maybe other cities it's Carrefour, maybe in other countries it would be different name, but there is a, maybe in UK there is a series market called Tesco. Tesco has two type of store. Tesco has something called Tesco Superstore, and another one is called Tesco Corner Shop. Now, Superstore is a bigger type store where we have everything available. You want dog food, you want to buy a fridge, a washing machine, clothes, computer, laptop, everything is available into a superstore. But in a corner store, only what you get groceries, not something else. Corner stores are many. All over London, all over UK, there are hundreds and hundreds of Tesco corner. You can go and you can get your milk, you can get your groceries, you can get your washing powder and whatever. You are looking to buy bigger product, fridge, washing machine, laptop, go to Tesco Superstore. They are less and they are on a distance location. So maybe within a 10-kilometer radius, just give an example, you may have one superstore and maybe you would have 20 corner shops, right? Hope you're getting the idea. So if I'm looking to buy just bottle of milk, I may not want to travel 10 minutes or may not want to move to 10 kilometers. So for that kind of situation, we offer something called edge location, or we call them point of presence. And if you see this, these dots are representing point of presence. And as of now, we have 300 plus locations. From there, we serve content faster. So we would be able to send data faster to the customer. So let's take an example here. Let's say my application is here hosted into US. I have a customer here into Australia. Now, if edge locations are not there, what is going to happen? My request will be going further to this location and then my content will be delivered from there. And this is all happening over internet. What these locations are doing, these all locations of Amazon are connected with each other, and that is ensuring that we can provide better connectivity and better performance. So these all locations of Amazon is connected on our global network. So when my request comes from user, the response is given from the nearby edge location from it. So that's what we mean by point of presence. And in connecting all these, what we have our network. Let me go back to that slide so that you can relate to what I'm saying. Give me one more minute. I'm bringing up that slide back to you. See this. So these small lines which you are seeing here, these lines is Amazon's own network. So we have laid out network connecting all over the world location and giving you the best performance. So that would ensure that whenever a request comes, let's say from Asia Pacific, my application may be hosted here, but what we can do, we can cache your data near to your users and we can then deliver data from there. So that is the main advantage of using edge location. So edge location is where some services are available and you can use them for improving performance or sometime to improve security or sometime to do local data processing. So that's what we do. Not all services are available. We have only few services like global resources like Route 53, CloudFront, Lambda, AWS Shield. These services are available there. Right. So that's what we mean by it. So is this same as CDN? Yes. So Sanjay, what happens here that in these point of presence, we run CDN and our CDN service is CloudFront, or we run our DNS service from there, that is called Route 53. So this is one location and this location may be serving multiple type of services. Some of them I highlighted here like Lambda, AWS Shield, CloudFront, Route 53. So they run from edge location. And if you go a little further, you would find that these locations are into the cities where we have a lot of population living. Let's say if I give an example of India. So in India, you would find that edge locations are in the place where we have lot and lot of population living. Let me go back to that, and you would find that. So cities like Chennai, cities like Delhi, city like Mumbai, that is where we have services running, and that would give our customer much better performance. So all these edge locations are mostly on the cities where lot of population is living, so that we can reach out to them much faster and deliver performance to them. Like here, if you see, probably we are looking for cities like here, this should be Sydney, this should be Perth, this should be Melbourne, and similarly in India also you would find the cities where we have lot of population living and we run our services from there. So that is the main idea of running a edge location. So three things you should be remembering from global infrastructure. First, region. Second, region is made up of availability zone. And third is the edge location. And to connect all of these, what we have our global network. So all these services are connected to each other by the networking, which is maintained or owned or operated by AWS. And that helps us to keep our services as running smoothly as possible and not have any problem with disruption. Because in regular internet, what happens, your traffic can go from multiple internet service provider and then reach to your destination. Here you don't have to worry about all the stuff. So that's what we achieve from this location.